Okay, we're going to walk you through a very quick tutorial on WordPress. So you have been added to a WordPress site, a blog, or we're going to use it as a website, even if it's not used as a blog. You are going to get an email and you're going to accept it and process through. You should be able to get to the blog then, and when you are properly logged in, you will get this line at the top of the screen, which will give you the information on how you can access the dashboard, or how you're going to log in and add new posts. But the key we're going to do right now very quickly is up in the upper right hand corner there's a little box and it says howdy, and it's going to say your username, and we're going to go and edit my profile. So if you have set up a new if you've been added to a new WordPress site and this is the first time you're logging in, there's a couple quick things. Username gives you your username. As a student, you do not have to post publicly, so you can change it to an alias. So under nickname, you can put in something that is not identifiable to you. I have my initials, BSL, that way my professor would know who I am. Just something that's easy to understand. Still, they would be able to tell who you are, but publicly, no one else would be able to. As you scroll down, the other thing that's important is this account management. It gave you a very crazy long password, and so what we're going to do is we're going to click create or generate password. It's going to give this crazy thing again, but I can change it to something very manageable. What I recommend is just change it to the exact same thing that you have as your standard user Dickinson network password, and that way it's the same. This password won't change, so I could delete it. I could type in something else. I'm not going to change this to something so weak. But it's just as easy to have the same thing that you're normally using. You do have to click this check mark that says confirm use of weak password. That's fine. And then I would hit update profile. I don't have to update this right this very moment for my own, but you do want to do that. So once you have that, then you have your account all set up and your password. When we are in our dashboard here, I do get some other things that you don't get. And so we're going to focus on the main things up here. We're going to focus on posts. I'm going to leave this site because I didn't need to save it. We're going to start with posts. We have add new up here, and it will list all the posts that we have. It will show everyone that has posted something. This is just a generic post, and it will give you just who has posted it, but you do not have access as a student to make any edits or deletes or anything like that. Because I'm logged in as a manager, I can edit things, but you would not have access. You are able to see what other folks have at least posted though. And so in here, if you had posted this, you could do quick edit. You could make some changes on if we had some categories here or tags. So categories might be predefined from your professor. Tags would be more freeform. So categories could be the topics that you're learning about in that particular class, and tags would be more specific things. You're posting for a biology class and your focus is very much on trees, and the main category is nature, so maybe the word trees would be in the tag. So this is just a way that you can connect different types of posts together thematically, both in a very organized way and a more free-form way. You can change the status here as well. You could change it back to a draft if you didn't need to post it, and you could hit update and hit cancel on that though. So in here I can come in and I can click on add new button, also always at the top of the screen, and when you're logged in that black bar does also give you add a new post. So most likely we're going to be adding a new post for these, so this just has a time and date stamp on it. Pretty standard. We're going to give it a title. And then we have our, on mine it defaulted over here to the text option, meaning HTML. We don't need that. We're going to look at it from the visual side. So it's going to try to replicate exactly what we're posting the way that we want it to. On this one, it will give me my editing toolbars, which you're all familiar with through other online programs. It does give me this little button that looks like a button filled with buttons. If I click it, it collapses some of my options, especially important ones like undo and redo. So if you don't see all of your options, just click that little button. It'll give you everything you need. And so at this point I could type in, type whatever I want. And I can do any sort of additional formatting that I need to. I can change anything to use some of the headings, paragraph styles, see however I want to type anything. Also up here at the top is our Add Media button. So any images that you want to upload, you have a couple of different options here. It will show you the media library. In this particular one, I don't have anything in here. I could come over here. I could grab a picture that I have, and I could just drag that right out. It gives me a picture that I have uploaded. So as other students are uploading images, you will be able to see them. You can actually make use of them, so if for some reason the same image consistently needed to be used, like an icon or something that you're all referencing, you don't have to upload the same one over and over again. You can use someone else's, but the media library will show you everything that has been uploaded, and if you didn't have something uploaded already, just like I did before, I would just drag and drop something or click the select button and navigate to it. I could click on that picture and I could insert it into the post, but a couple important things. You do want to put in alt text. This is for disability readers, anyone that's blind that maybe has a website reader that is walking through and saying, this is what this text says, this is what this image is of. So I'm just going to put down the word church because that's what that's the picture of. If I wanted to, I could put a caption, so I could say Shiloh Church. And then at the bottom we have attachment display images. When you're looking at a newspaper or any sort of magazine and you see the text, the image on the text and how the text wraps around to the right or the left or the center, that's what those alignment options are. So you can play around a little bit. So if I had it on the right, the image would be on the right and all the text that I'm writing would copy or would flow right around it. So you can do a little bit of playing around with the options here. The other key is size. WordPress will likely default to the one that it thinks is the proper size for this particular site. This image isn't as big as others, but if you took a brand new picture on your camera, it would probably come in at least 1,000 wide and high, and that's way too large. So in this case, I'm going to go with the medium. Maybe if I really wanted it to be very big, I would choose large, but usually I default to what WordPress thinks I should use. So I'm going to hit insert. And so there it has it. I put that caption in. You could also use the caption to say where you got the image from. So I could type in additional text. So as I went through, I could also move this around, sort of see how, as I move it, I don't know if you can really see on my screen, but you can see that my cursor ends up in a certain area, and so that is now aligning this piece of text with the image. And so again, if I had additional text, it would wrap all the way around there. And I could go in here and I could edit it later, and I could say, no, actually I want it left aligned, and now it's doing the opposite. So you can see how you can play around and make some different adjustments. And although I just typed in a bunch of the text here, I could also go over to another page, copy some text. So this could be the same as if you would go and copy text from a Word document that you have written in advance. You don't have to type directly into the post. I could grab all the text here, paste that in, go back up there, throw that picture in. It retained all my information from before, so I'm going to right align it, remember all that kind of stuff, and now it does exactly what I said it was going to. It wraps that text right around it, and I can make those adjustments. I can even left align it really quickly without even going into the edit screen. But I could, excuse me, could go into the edit screen just to adjust the caption. Other things that are handy with WordPress is it has a lot of plugins. So if I go over to YouTube and I find a very important YouTube video, I could click on the share option and it will give me the copy link, so I could grab that link right there. Also on YouTube, in case you never noticed, there is a start at option, and if you had a very long video but you wanted to point it to a particular point in it, I could have it and I could say start at minute 4, and that would post it precisely when you hit the play button, that it would play the segment that you need. So that way you don't have to download it or edit it or copy it or anything like that. You just use that little option. So if I wanted that, I could go back here and I can type that in and it will automatically resolve and show that right away. So I could post that. I can put it in between any of the text. And again, using that quick start at button will allow you to have it start exactly where you need. So you might want to use your content here, your text, to give a little bit more information about why that's significant, why where we're going to start at, instead of just blindly posting it and expecting the reader to understand. So that's exactly what you're typing, your narration, or your text is going to lead someone who goes to the next picture or the next post, next video, to fully understand why that's significant. So this is the basic workflow using images, videos, some basic text formatting. There are a couple other quick things I'll show here. There is one for a block quote. So if you're trying to highlight something, I could put in a quote, and each theme does have a slightly different look. So in this one, the block quotes have this little red line. Sometimes it has a much larger quotation mark. It might change the font size, things like that. But essentially, these will default to follow the theme, kind of the stylized format of any particular site, any particular blog theme that we might be using. All right, so I can do a couple things here. On the right-hand side, we have Save Draft. It does actually save automatically. We can do a preview. So if I clicked preview, it'll open it up in a new window, and it will show exactly what it's going to look like. So in this case, you know, the alignment is a little bit different than what I thought, and that's exactly why you want to figure out, is that doing exactly what you want? Because it looks like it would align over in the other side. But the image came through, the video came through, and so you could go back and you could make some adjustments. I could change it over to right align, and I could come back and I could refresh it. See if, right. Save draft, do my preview. There it is. So now it's right aligned, and in this one, it shuffles it a little bit more to the right. So always taking a look and making sure that it's looking the way that you think it should. When you're completely finished, you can publish, but like I said, you can come back and continue to edit this until you're ready. It will be in the all posts list, and you can continue to edit. This particular site doesn't have categories yet, but your professor might list some categories, and of course you would just take a look and align that with whatever the topic is that you're posting about. And again, tag. So for instance, this one, you know, I have a picture of a church, I can put that in. And as you start using the tags, if someone has posted before you, so I said earlier about what if you were posting about trees, understanding that someone might have tagged it as tree and someone might have tagged it as trees. So keeping consistent so that it will lump all of the tags together. So a lot of times I go with plural versus singular. So if I started typing in trees, if someone else had posted it, it would autocomplete and it would say, oh, someone already posted trees. So I could click on it instead of typing my own to ensure that the spelling and if it was plural or singular would all align. And in this case, this last one that I'll show you here is on the side, we have a featured image option. Not all themes have it, but if there is one, you will want to go in here and select a particular image. What all that does is a lot of the themes on the front page will show a little blurb about what posts there are, and if there's a picture attached, it will be that sort of identifying image that really makes you want to read the article or read the post. So if you had a whole bunch of images in there, it usually just defaults to pick the first one, which might not be the most, that might not align perfectly visually with how you would put it on the front page. So in this case, I'm going to add my featured image, and then if I hit publish on this, it takes me back to this screen. I now get this permalink though, and so that's what takes me out to the post itself. So if I wanted to come here, I could take a quick look. Again, it says I'm in the uncategorized site. It has my featured image on this one also. It has this particular theme has a featured image that this is at the very top of the screen. It has my post. When I go to the front page of the site itself, oops. So this one in particular actually gives you a full post at the it kind of shows the full post. So some themes will only show a truncated version. So it's all depending on the theme, but the same basic process applies to anything, no matter what the theme is that you're working with. So in the dashboard, if I go back to that posts screen, I now get two different ones. It says, author BSL, so it shows my identifier. It shows I didn't categorize this one. Says when it was published, and this would also show any sort of tags and any comments that you have. So that is my quick WordPress tutorial. Feel free to email academictechnology@dickinson.edu if you have any questions, especially if you have any problems getting into your blog. Email with the class that you're in, and we will follow up and ensure that you have the access that you need.